Okay, 8th of February up in the wood. Came here on the 6th, which was a Sunday. Was it the 5th? It was the 5th, which was a Sunday. And shifted a load of stuff that I'd cut. It's more of a pile in there. And the cord, hopefully you can see, is bigger. And shifted all the stuff that I cut in this area here. You can just about see where it's been laying with the eye of faith. Some got left because I ran out of time. Built up this dead hedge a bit. You can see it's taller, although not a lot thicker. I built this one up, which is taller and thicker. And here's where some stuff's been lying. Where it's been lying, the dog's mercury, which is this one, and the bluebell. Starting to grow, even though it's February. And even though for the last few mornings it's been cold, i.e. frosty, and this morning was freezing fog. So I stayed home in front of the fire until later today. So the plan today is to knock these trees over, with the tops hopefully coming this way, to thicken this section of hedge up again. You see them? And clear this area out, because with the ground flora starting to arrive, this area is going to be slightly better for ground flora than this area in the bottom under the shade of these standards here. And these standards are staying, I shan't say of course, because if you look at your woodland management in a long-term perspective, standards are part of the crop, or part of a crop. However, you need to get a felling licence to take more than one of these out, also the landowner's permission, and you need to be set up to do something proper with it rather than just turn it into firewood. Well, to my mind anyway. But this would potentially make quite a nice sawing butt. If you could get up here in the summer with a wood miser, that would saw quite nicely. And then the branch wood, or this canopy here, would be firewood. And then the coppice underneath would grow much better. Of course you want to fell it at the same time as you're coppicing. If you fell it after say 3 years, you fell it on your coppice and you mash some of the coppice. This one next to it is a sweet chestnut, and as a timber tree it's absolutely useless. You can see the difference in the bark, and the bark on this one is spiraled. It goes around in a curve. So this is probably squatted down and it'll be ring shook. If you've seen some of my other videos, you know what ring shake is. So no good as a sawing timber butt, although like oak, sweet chestnut is naturally durable. So if the grain's nice and straight, it can make very nice timber. But it's a good wildlife tree. It's got lots of holes in it, and although it won't carry the same diversity of insects etc. which live on oak, which has over 360 species, sweet chestnut has a lot less. It's a non-native, brought into the country by the Romans, I believe. I'm saying all this on the fly, I haven't researched it beforehand. And there's a hole up here where it branches into two, and that's got signs of something living in it and going in and out, probably a squirrel. And there's a squirrel tray up in the top there. GoPro might pick it out. But yeah, from the point of view of the coppice, the hazel crop, that ought to come out. And then even though it's a big old tree, the stool might regenerate. Certainly from the point of view of the coppice, one of these canopies ought to come out. There's also a canopy on this ash. The ash may die of its own accord due to ash dieback. It's showing the first signs up in the top of dieback. But anyway, so we're felling this little lot. I'll set up a little stand for the camera. And we'll go into this, take these ones out, and then I can take this one out, and I can get into these ones and pull them over on the hedge, and then work down towards that corner, building the hedge as I go, without having to move too much stuff. And the last bit of felling, hopefully before the end of March, will be that stuff in that corner, and the dead hedge along the bottom, and along this section down here. Right, let's get on with it. Right, putting a little platform for you to sit on. I'm trying to squash you with these. Got the rope already. And how does that look? Not bad. I'll set you up on the dreaded, what's the word? Oh, I can't remember the word for it. Well, it takes a photo every so often. Still can't think of the bloody word for it. Getting old. Anyway, I thought I'd just show you these, which are roe deer messages. So we've had visitors in here fairly recently. They're about 2-3 days old maybe. Seeker deer jobbies are much bigger, look more like sheep jobbies. They tend to be flatter and in several squashed up together. So that's roe deer, obviously a fairly small individual. Anyway, right, let's get on with it. Time lapse. Time lapse is the word. Right. The helicopter to go over. Right, that didn't go entirely to plan. I'm afraid this top knocked you off. Maybe I'll edit that out, maybe I'll not. Show it to you warts and all. But anyway, so we had the rope and pulled 2 over. Another one went over without the rope. And the rope, you might have seen me looking a little bit puzzled at the rope early on in that sequence, has been sabotaged. I had 1 rope, now I've got 2. I left it in the cord down there. Let me show you the other end. So my 1 rope, there used to be 2 ropes. And was spliced in the middle. There's a splice, because each rope was 11 meters long, not quite long enough. It's been nibbled away by the mouses. There's probably a mouse's nest in the cord, which is partly feather bedded with bits of this terraline rope. So sabotage, naughty mouses, but never mind, he's probably resting there nice and warm. He can stay there till the summer. There's the splice, look. It's got an alpine butterfly knot on there so I can grip the rope better. It looks a bit puggled because the splice is right in the middle of it. My hands are not what they used to be, and I have trouble gripping a small rope. So if I put a knot in there, I can grip hold of the knot rather than the rope. Anyway, made all this mess, got to tidy that up. Got to move all that potential product down to the product pile. This stuff here is too small, or it's dead, or it's too cranky. That can go in that pile. And stuff that's nearer that dead hedge will go in that dead hedge. This stuff here is equidistant. It'll probably go in that dead hedge too. That needs to be a bit wider and a bit higher still. So, onwards and upwards. Right, so that's the progress today. Cut most of this stuff, that stuff over there, that stuff over there. And we've knocked down the ones that are missing from here. You'll have to look at the previous footage. And then just recently, if we can get you out of the sun, knock this one down. She's gone straight on the dead hedge. And there's one from there. Just missed a dead hedge. I heard on the side of caution. I don't want to go over the other side because I'd have to walk around and I'd squash last year's material. Let's cut. We've got enough battery, we'll go and have a look at that. There we go, that's 1 year's growth. 7 foot, pretty well. And all very, very similar. That should come back nicely. And these ones that are lying down, of course, were layered. Hopefully they'll sprout from where they hit the ground. You see they're still alive, they've got catkins on the top. That's a dead hedge here, dead hedge along the top, and dead hedge over there. I've started now propping some straight against the dead hedge so the ends point out, because with any luck Bambi will want to be coming over from that way and you'll find the little spiky bits against him. And if he does get in here, it'll be easy for him to get out again. And the last of the 360 view. Right, let's cut this one up and it's home time. Right, that's that chap chopped. Can you tell it's not scripted? Anyway, you can see where all the bits laid. And there's the top. It's all nicely benched, so all at the waist height. Dead easy to do. No bending of back required. And that's the stump. And that's the hinge. You can tell it's worked as a hinge because it's done that. I've chopped him already. And you can see the bird's mouth going down to here. So that's the width of the hinge. And you can see there, it's always cutting in a very slight curve, so it needs a little bit of a tickle with a file. It's starting to get slightly blunt on one side probably, and that's where it came off. And the hinge is at 90 degrees to where you want the thing to fall. So even though this particular stem was leaning slightly that way, it was paralleling this one. Look, see it? You can control it and put it right where you want it. Let's say 8 times out of 10. And trees this size, it's not the end of the world if it pops over the hedge or comes on this side like that one did. That dropped just beside the hedge and then rolled. But as long as you're aware it's possibly going to do that, you should be in no problem. So that's that. That's how you leave the stools. So that'll grow there beside the hedge. Might tangle in this bit, but then that'll rot down. Next time we're up here, this one's got to go. And this one, and this one might all be the same stool. Not 3 close together. You can see where this one's lost a stem on this side. It's down in there. And you got all this young stuff. And this bit here, all this separate stool, whichever it is, has died off. So that's stool recession. Right, home time now. But again, it's lovely up here. You can hear the traffic, but other than that, it's nice and quiet. And there were wrens earlier going tick, tick, tick. And there's been a robin and some little tits making noises and foraging. But they've all gone right now, and it's just nice.